Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Range, and this video is the analysis of my stages 2 and 3, so the last two stages of day 1 of Desert Brutality 2020. So, first up, stage 2, Kasarda Drill P. So what's going on here is that we start with the rifle loaded but not made ready in a hula hoop. We then run diagonally about 50 meters without all your kit flopping around too badly. You then draw your pistol in that hula hoop and you've got 3 steel targets. No double taps allowed. Bucket. 62 pound, 28 kilo kettlebell, run back to the start hula hoop.
Kettlebell goes in the loop.
That weighs more than my son. Unsling the rifle, make it ready, and then one hit, standing unsupported, throw the kettlebell, rinse and repeat. Every stick you go across gets a 15-second bonus, and once the bell has gone over the last line, you get one more shot, and then the timer stops. Obviously, every time the rifle gets put down, safety catch is applied.
Ah, shit. Ah. Lucky roll.
Got lucky.
If you're finished, going to unload and show clear.
And there we go. I was done in 150.59 and came 29th, which I was pretty pleased with.
150.59.
150.59?
Yep.
Brutal.
Is this when you tell us how fantastic the AR-15 was in its original iteration?
Absolutely awesome. Much easier than with a FAL in Finland.
Alright, so Brian's our next shooter.
Oh my god. Excuse me, I'm just going to go and die somewhere.
So over to the headcam footage now. Unfortunately, it's set a little bit high again, sorry. I mean, as I said before, we rectified this on day 2.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
And we're off. And what I learnt in Finland was basically just go hard or go home. With all the running, just go for it. It's just dead time. Pistol comes out the holster fairly easily. Pick up the bell. Baby carry it basically. I tend to cock with the right hand for anyone who cares. The first shot is always a question of, did it go? That was a good throw for weakling office monkey me. As you can hear, I'm already huffing and puffing because this is an emotional time. You'll notice that the rifle's coming down pretty quickly. I mean, I'm not even waiting for the ding or the call of hit some of the time. There's an example of one. And we'll get onto that
Ah, shit.
at the end. Sorry, all the action's in the bottom left corner here.
Ah.
It gets harder and harder to throw that thing. I've been practicing with a 20 kilo, 44 pound bell, and this one is just way more. That was quick. Now on some of these I'm going so quick that, the software stabilization on the headcam isn't actually catching up. So I am actually still when it's being fired, it's just the image is moving. Got lucky, over relieved, so missed that huge target at 50 meters, and then corrected. So for me, that illustrates quite well some of the fundamentals that I go on about, and at some point I will do a series just doing rifle and pistol fundamentals, just marksmanship principles, right down to the basics, because there's a few aspects there that are quite interesting. So first of all, when I come into the position, I know just from experience that my natural alignment is going to be basically on. So when I present the rifle, it's close enough to the target for government work. I shouldn't be muscling it. The problem is if you muscle it, your body is tending to pull the rifle in one direction, which means that when you fire the shot is likely to go in the direction that your natural alignment is pulling it. So that's the first thing for speed and avoiding misses, is knowing that your foot position, body position is right, up you come, bang. Then the next thing is calling your shots. So most of the time I know as the hammer falls, so before the shot's even left the barrel, as the hammer falls, I know if I've definitely hit it, if I've definitely missed it, or it could be somewhere in the middle. And okay, the first shot, you never know. Once you start getting into the zone, you start to get a feel for where the shot's gone, sort of. So you know, okay, I can put the rifle down. I can just, as soon as I've done my short follow through, I can put the rifle on safe, put it down, grab the kettlebell, and carry on. Or I know I've pulled it, I've done something wrong from feel, and then no, I'm going to need a make-up shot. Concentrate a bit more, and carry on. And this is something that comes with experience, and it's something that that in my target rifle background was particularly important because we did plotting sheets. So you had to know if you pulled a shot one way or another, so that you knew to discount any information on wind or elevation that came off of that. But I'll go into this in a lot more detail at a future occasion, because it's just suffice to say that for now, I mean, it's something that I learned mostly from target rifle shooting, but it applies equally here, and it means that you can speed up if your mental game's good. If you know what's happening, you're not waiting to react necessarily to something that's happening. And certainly on some of the longer shots, the time for the ding to reach you is not insignificant. And with the light, you couldn't always see necessarily, particularly if you're focusing on the front sight, which you should be, you can't necessarily see those targets move. I mean, when Ian was shooting 8 Mauser at them, they were going bang, moving quite significantly. But with 55 grain 223s, there wasn't that much movement, and there wasn't that much dust that I could see when not actually looking at the target itself. So I was quite pleased with that run. That was an awful lot of fun. It was a significantly emotional experience at the end there, and I'm glad there was a big gap before stage 3, which we will get onto now.
Bye!
So stage 3, Riot Control, goes as follows. You hold a shield in your left hand. You can shoot upright. I chose to use it as a support. One hit on each of the tiny little pepper poppers. Safe the pistol in the bucket. Run across, unsling the rifle, which is loaded but not made ready. Got with the left hand on this stage, and then with the rifle or your hand on the tyre, 2 hits on each of the targets at the ends of the range.
Watch your muzzle here.
Then up the tyre, shooting through the tyre with the muzzle inside, not poking beyond. Again, 2 on each.
You're hitting the tire. You're hitting the tire.
While I'm hitting the tyre, so I lift the rifle up, make hits. So I'm not actually resting it quite on the tyre there. Same again. I overcompensated, I was too far forward. Preemptive reload, having expended far too much ammo.
Rifle or hand touching
Over to these last tyres. Again, rifle or hand touching the tyre.
You're hitting tire. Hand.
Yeah, doesn't quite my hand.
Touching. Hit. 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 Hit.
And we are done.
Good run. I see clear. Drop it. Roger that. Sling up. Good run. Solid.
Thank you.
See, you're not the only one,
Yeah.
but there have been quite a few.
I think you're a pistol wizard.
Oh, it's all that bloody target shooting I do.
You're a pistol wizard. He's a wizard.
What was it?
95.30.
5-3-0.
So I was all done in 95.30 seconds and came 14th, which I was pretty proud of. Fastest was 72.1, so over 20 seconds faster than me. That was pretty cool. I think if I hadn't wasted a lot of time, I'd have obviously been a lot closer, but I would have liked to have seen the 72-second run, to be honest.
Thank you.
Okay, so on to the headcam footage.
Do you understand the course of fire? Roger that. Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
I went down to use it for support, counted the pistol, and I'm really looking sort of at the right-hand edge of the opening. Sorry, you can't see an awful lot here. And I'm counting it to bring it in front of my eye without having to reach my arm round too much. And this is where a bit of that sort of ISSF pistol shooting pays off. Now running across, I'm in no hurry to cock the rifle. I've got all the time in the world so I can do it right at the last minute, make sure all the cameramen and everything are behind me. And then I knelt behind the tyre, because that seemed to make a lot of sense. Ran across, and I went prone. A lot of people knelt or sat. Prone's kind of my default position, my comfort zone.
You're hitting the tire.
I did not know, so did not understand why I was missing, because my feedback, my sights and trigger control were telling me I should be hitting, but the bullets were going elsewhere because they were going through the tyre. Now for me, going prone is kind of obvious in a situation like this. It's sort of don't kneel or sit if you can go prone, because I can shoot faster, more accurately. I'm pretty good at moving my position, moving my natural alignment from one to the other, getting it straight away without having to check it, moving it across. And then here again, I go down on my knees. Action's in the bottom left corner, sorry. Bounce them off the tyre again.
Hand touching.
And if I hadn't done that preemptive reload, I think I would probably have been in trouble there.
Drop it.
Now again, for me, counting rounds in these high pressure situations, it's not really a thing. I mean, with IPSC, when you're shooting on paper, you can think of how many makeup shots I'm going to have, but in these more physical, tougher competitions, I find I just can't do it. I've just got to say, okay, I'm going to reload here because I've probably shot too much ammunition, and that's kind of what happened there. Now, the interesting thing technique-wise on this video was the choice of positions, as I mentioned while talking about the headcam footage. Getting into position with the natural alignment, and this is just pure practice. There's actually some people criticised me on like the SE80 shooting video I did a while back. There's some army guys saying, you're not testing and adjusting your position, and I replied to them, well, actually I am. You're just not seeing it, because after 20 odd years of experience, I can get my natural alignment almost on when I lie down. I'm not having to go prone and be targets there, rifles there, and having to really shift my hips around to bring it to bear. Any adjustment I'm making on that sort of range is minuscule, and on this kind of range it really pays to be able to just go down in a position with good enough natural alignment without having to check it. Because to check it, normally you aim, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, open your eyes, see where you are, and then you adjust your position if you need to until it comes up on. You don't have time for that. The only time I think you would do that is if, on a range like this, is if it's long shots where you're going to take the time and you're not sure, or your shots are going somewhere you're not expecting them, and then a bit of muscling to hold off isn't working. But it certainly pays. And it was interesting to see the number of people that went sitting or kneeling through the tyres, because for me, as a primarily prone rifle shooter, it was self-evident that I could get into the prone quickly, I could shoot 2 quick shots, I could shift my position around quickly and fire 2 more shots. Whereas if I knelt, I wasn't going to be as certain, it would be wobbling, the chances of needing a makeup shot would have gone up. Sitting, I'm not a good sitting shooter. Down here. I'm not used to it. For me, sitting is kind of a worst of both worlds. I'd only sit if I was forced to by circumstances. It's also, I mean, the other thing is, always rest if you can rest, which was a mistake I made in stage 1. I didn't use the hedgehog to rest. There I started resting. The sight offset and the low barrel compared to the stock here meant that I was hitting the tyre. So then I just picked it up. I just went to a slightly higher position, picked it up. They were reasonably small targets, but didn't bother me. So I just took them prone unsupported, because it was clearly resting wasn't working for me there. So I didn't. And then at the end, forgetting the whole resting the rifle or hand thing, initially went down, resting the fore end, bouncing rounds off the tyre again, and then went up, and I had the tendency to rest on the wrist. So I fired like 2 or 3 shots that were disallowed because I was not resting the hand or the rifle, went down, took them. A lot of people rested the magazine, and which with hindsight would probably have been a better bet, monopod it on the magazine, but I didn't. So there you go. That was the end of day 1 of Desert Brutality 2020 for me. Next video, we'll do 1 or more of the runs of day 2. Now, thanks so much to everyone who helped make this match possible and helped make my participation in it possible. I'll mention again by name Karl and Russell for the organisation, all the sponsors, and particularly patrons. And patrons this year are going to make it possible for me to attend as many matches like that as I possibly can, as I've possibly got time and budget for. So if you're not already a patron and want to see me breathing out my backside, throwing kettlebells around the countryside in interesting places like Finland and Arizona, please consider becoming a patron, because it's that makes my participation possible. So thank you very much, and see you again sometime. Bye.